יצאנו לרקוד, לי באוזן את לוחשת זאת, שמחר בכלל לא בא לך לעבוד או לעמוד, רק להיות איתך עוד בדרך לשם. לנו לא אכפת מהעולם, מה שמתחשק עושים לפני כולם. כמה מושלם, כיף להיות איתך סתם. את מסתובבת, את מסובבת את כולם, את לא מוטרדת, יש לך את כל העולם. את מהמנתת את כל מי שמביט לראות איך את רוקדת, ואין לי מה לעשות, רק מחכה לסוף. כשנכנסים צלליות של אלף אנשים, שם ברחבה היא את עצמה תשים. כמה מקסים, אין לי מושג מה עושים בתוך השם. מתפתח משהו לא מובן, היא כבר נעלמה, נשארתי בלי חצן. זה מסוכן, איך לא הייתי מוכן. את מסתובבת, את מסובבת את כולם, את לא מוטרדת, יש לך את כל העולם. את מהמנתת את כל מי שמביט לראות איך את רוקדת, ואין לי מה לעשות, רק מחכה לסוף. יצאנו לרקוד, לי באוזן את לוחשת זאת, שמחר בכלל לא בא לך לעבוד או לעמוד, רק להיות איתך עוד. את מסתובבת, את מסובבת את כולם, את לא מוטרדת, יש לך את כל העולם. את מהמנתת את כל מי שמביט לראות איך את רוקדת, ואין לי מה לעשות, רק מחכה לסוף. את מסתובבת, ואין לי מה לעשות, רק מחכה לסוף.
אתמול ב5 אחרי הצהריים הלכנו עם אמא למכולת, ובדרך ראינו שהגן שלנו סגור. הנדנדות עומדות בין העצים הגבוהים, והפרחים כאלה נמוכים ובלי צבעים, כי הגן שלנו סגור. וביום קוביות נרדמות מסודרות בסל, ואין שם אף ילד שיבנה מהן מגדל.
קוביות נרדמות מסודרות בסל, ואין שם אף ילד שיבנה מהן מגדל.
ואין שם אף גננת שתגיד מה מותר ומה אסור, וכל הספרים מסודרים על המדף כי אין מי שישמע סיפור. לה 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 קוביות נרדמות מסודרות בסל, ואין שם אף ילד שיבנה מהן מגדל.
הנדנדות עומדות בין העצים הגבוהים, והפרחים כאלה נמוכים ובלי צבעים.
אתמול בחמש אחרי הצהריים הלכנו עם אמא למכולת, ובדרך ראינו שהגן שלנו סגור.
לא נעים לראות גן סגור,
זה לא כל כך נעים לראות גן סגור.
זה לא כל כך נעים לראות גן סגור,
זה לא כל כך נעים לראות גן סגור.
זה לא כל כך נעים לראות עוד גן סגור,
זה לא כל כך נעים לראות עוד גן סגור.
זה לא כל כך נעים לראות עוד גן סגור, זה לא כל כך נעים לראות עוד גן סגור, זה לא כל כך נעים לראות עוד גן סגור, זה לא כל כך נעים לראות עוד גן סגור, זה לא כל כך נעים לראות עוד גן סגור, זה לא כל כך נעים לראות עוד גן סגור, זה לא כל כך נעים לראות עוד גן סגור, זה לא כל כך.
Before we begin our program, Jewish National Fund would like to thank our partners, the many donors who have already made their annual gift for the 2021 campaign year. These generous donors are among the first to say, "Count me in to support the land and people of Israel." Welcome one and all to the first Jewish National Fund Virtual National Conference. Kicking off today is our session titled Building Up Israel's North and South, hosted by Chief Israel Officer Eric Michaelson, reporting direct from Jerusalem with details of how Jewish National Fund is building new infrastructure and housing in the Galilee and Negev to benefit all Israelis. Please welcome Eric Michaelson.
Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about housing in Israel. When looking at the best ways to alleviate Israel's population density in the center of the country, JNF understood that Israel needed to look to its northern and southern frontiers, building existing communities and supporting the growth of new ones. Also recognizing that in addition to our community development initiatives, it was equally important to focus on the residential infrastructure. Unlike the United States, there is no private residential development, and all expansion must be coordinated through the municipalities. While many of the first settlements and kibbutzim thriving during the early periods of Israel's development, most have become stagnant in recent years, struggling to accumulate the capital to launch significant expansion initiatives. Jewish National Fund's Housing Development Fund is a fundamental catalyst for Israel's future, identifying key communities in JNF's Blueprint Negev and Go North initiatives. It provides housing loans for new neighborhoods while mitigating the risk and lack of capital for the communities themselves. Many of our Housing Development Fund stakeholders have years of experience in real estate and development. They meet with each of the prospective communities, learn about their characteristics and growth strategies, and identify strong, viable partners to work together with us to bring populations to the Negev and Galil. Under Israeli municipal regulations, physical infrastructure can only be developed after all the lots in a community are purchased and financed. This rule can often result in delays of up to 5 years. The Housing Development Fund offers loans to communities, providing the capital necessary for ground infrastructure to be completed. This speeds up the process of home ownership and leads to an expedited expansion of these communities and Israel's frontier as a whole. To date, Jewish National Fund has provided nearly $20 million in loans, supporting almost 1,500 housing lots throughout our frontier regions. This is real tangible progress and a catalyst of change. Let's take a look to see how this works on the ground. First up is Maya Kalmi from Kibbutz Gesher. Located in the Valley of Springs, Gesher was one of the first JNF Housing Development Fund initiatives. Its model of absorption of new members has been a huge boost for the kibbutz, and the influx of new professionals has helped with the economic growth of the region.
Hi everyone, my name is Maya Karmi. I'm 27 years old and I live on a kibbutz in the north of Israel called Kibbutz Gesher. I was born and raised in London, and I grew up in a very Zionistic family. My father himself was brought up on a kibbutz in the north of Israel, and one of the things he always told my mum was that the only way he'll manage to live in London is if his children have a connection to Israel, and specifically to the kibbutz. So every summer, the whole summer holiday, we'd be on the kibbutz, and I met friends, and I learned how to speak Hebrew, and that's where my connection to the kibbutz comes from. So after I finished school, at the age of 18, I knew I was going to move to Israel. The connection that my dad made sure that I had to Israel was really, really, really strong. And I saw how my friends on the kibbutz grew up, and I saw their childhood, and I just knew that I wanted that for my children. I knew that I didn't want them to grow up in a city. So my husband Gal is originally from Gesher. He was born here and he lived here his whole life, and he had a really strong connection to the kibbutz. So that, together with my connection to the kibbutz that my father is from, really made it easy for us to decide that we were going to live on a kibbutz after we got married. And that's exactly what we did. When I was pregnant with our first child, we moved to the kibbutz, and as soon as we heard about the housing development project that the JNF helped Gesher build, we knew that was what we were going to do. And one of the most amazing things was that we were told that because of the JNF's help, we wouldn't have to wait to build. Because if the JNF hadn't helped Gesher, we'd have had to wait for another 10 families at least to start building. That's what the kibbutz told us. So the JNF's fund really helped us. So this is the house that, thanks to the JNF's fund, we were able to build without having to wait for anyone or for anything, and we were able to make our dreams come true as quickly as possible. So when we came to Gesher and told the kibbutz that we wanted to start building a house, there were another 2 families who had said that they were interested. We were the first ones to actually start building. And that was 3 years ago. And now, about half of the plots have already been taken. And hopefully soon there'll be even more houses. There are another 2 houses that are already lived in, a 4th house that's almost finished, and another, I'd say about 8 houses, 8 plots that have been taken by new families. So that's quite a lot in 3 years, especially for Gesher. So I just want to say one more thing. We are now under a second lockdown due to the coronavirus. And look where my kids are. They're not locked in a house. They have so many areas that they can go and play and meet friends. And I definitely wouldn't change this for anything.
It is remarkable what's going on in Gesher after all these years, and all they needed was support for 24 housing lots. We're going to stay up north and make a stop now at Kibbutz Pelech, a unique community based on the principles of interwoven ideals, collective dialogue, a shared mission, and communal sharing. The JNF neighborhood's picturesque view of the Western Galil and Mediterranean Sea is the perfect place for young families to build their homes in Israel.
Welcome to my home in Kibbutz Pelech. My name is Adi Friedman Mizrahi, and I am Mazkirat Kibbutz. I am the executive director of the Kibbutz. This is my home, in which I moved in just 4 months ago, and I live here with my husband and 2 little girls. I live in Pelech for 11 years. I moved here after I met Amit, my husband, and he already lived here. He came here with his during his military service with his group from the youth movement, and since then they all stayed here. I grew up in Kfar Saba, which is a city next to Tel Aviv, in the center of Israel. I never liked life in the city, in the center of Israel, but I didn't see much options. When I came to Pelech, I was overwhelmed from the community life, from the cultural activities, from the social life, from the nearness to nature, and the opportunity to build a kibbutz and to build and form a kibbutz that is established on the principles of equality, of freedom, of social engagement. That was what kept me here, and that's what we are trying to preserve here in Pelech. Now I want to show you our neighborhood. So this is our neighborhood. You can see here all of these are houses of our friends that live, that are part of our group. And past this road, we already have the infrastructure for more houses that already been planned and the architects are working on it. And in this, when this road is going to continue, we're gonna need to build more infrastructure for more houses that we can build and allow the kibbutz to grow. Okay, now we are in the center of the kibbutz. Here we have the old dining room. Nowadays we don't use it as a dining room, we use it as a community center. Most of the cultural activities are happening here, and it's a gathering place. Right next to it, we have a playground, and believe me, it's not a place of just for the kids. It's a social place for all ages. Another 2 new things here in Pelech that we are very much excited about. So come with me. This is our new community center, which was built with the generous help of the JNF. So this is our brand new neighborhood that we built to expand our growth capacity. This neighborhood was populated just a few weeks ago, and there's 14 families that came to live here and was able to come to live here thanks to this neighborhood. Next to the families that came to live here live a group of volunteers. They live in a commune, and they came here for a year to volunteer in the surroundings of Perech. They volunteer in various things like education, people with disabilities, agriculture, and lots of things. And Perech is their home for that year, and we hope next year there will be another group and another group. The last thing I want to show you, this is Perech 5 years ago. And this is Perech a few months ago. We work very hard to make Perech a great place to live in and a place that have an effect on its surrounding here in the Galilee. In the meanwhile, it worked pretty good, and we're going to make it even bigger and better.
In Pelech, we've supported 17 housing lots to date. Now, let's go down south to Kibbutz Nachal Oz, located in the Gaza envelope and one of the closest Israeli communities to the Gaza border. Described as 95% heaven and 5% hell, the resiliency of members of Nachal Oz is an inspiration, and its lush greenery and community-driven atmosphere has families waitlisted to join this thriving community. It is an extraordinary feat, given that only a few years ago, a little boy was tragically killed by a mortar from Gaza, and many families left. They needed a little boost, and we were there. Let's see how they're thriving today.
Hi, I'm Oshrit Sabag. I'm a resident of Kibbutz Nachal Oz for the last 18 years. And I want to tell you a little bit about our beautiful kibbutz and how the donation of JNF Housing Fund helped us tremendously in the progress and development of our demographic growth process. Let's go see the neighborhood. This is so important for Nachal Oz because, you know, we are sitting here. We're the first line to the Gaza Strip border, and we are one of the closest kibbutzim, closest communities to live near the Gaza Strip border. And this kibbutz have had many struggles on the way of, you know, being at the point that it is now, which is a very good, we've reached a very good place right now. We have been through quite a lot of security issues with the Gaza Strip, and you all know that because you've been here a few years ago. We really needed your help in progressing and building our new neighborhood, and because we had to build houses ourselves so people can come here and rent them in order to see if they fit, you know, the whole idea of living next to the Gaza Strip is something they can handle. So we had to have the possibility of allowing them to rent the house. So we needed to build new houses for that, because it was very difficult for us to bring new families to the kibbutz, especially after everything that the kibbutz went through in the 3 operations after until Protective Edge, until and including Protective Edge. And after Protective Edge, the kibbutz has found itself in a very dark spot in its history. We were broken and shocked after we have had, well, I think I could say it was the worst summer of my life. And I assume that the people that lived here in Nachal Oz at the same time would share my thoughts and feelings about it. Many families left the kibbutz. We were working for a whole year prior to that summer, and we were expecting 15 new families at the kibbutz that summer. And eventually we were left with minus 17 families because many people decided they couldn't stand it anymore and they just decided to leave the kibbutz. So we started working very hard, and there's a thing about Nachal Oz, because you know you really need special people here. You need people that can overcome obstacles, that can work together, that know how a sense of community works, that knows that in a community that people who know that in a community you are supposed to support one another. And you know, when we do that and when we work like that, it gives us a lot of strength to, you know, overcome all the things that we are going through from time to time. So it was very challenging bringing families over here. And when I first met the lovely representatives of JNF Housing Fund for the first time, they came here, and what they saw for the first time was 5 houses, 5 houses that were not even finished. You know, they were still in the process of building. And I want to show you what has become since then. And the second time that JNF Housing Fund visited here, we were already done with the first 5 units, and we were already working on the next 12, you know, phase 2. That was our last video, phase 2 of the neighborhood. And now Ohad and I are going to show you what has your donation done. Let me show you. So these are the first 5 houses, and I want to remind you that everyone came here for rent, yes? So these are the first 5 houses. They are all sold. Everyone living here is already a member, a permanent member of the kibbutz. We have succeeded in bringing 5 families to be members. Now, last time you've seen phase 2, it was still, you know, you could only see the infrastructure. There was nothing there. So let's see what happened to phase 2 from then. Let's see. Can you see that beautiful neighborhood? Now, I will tell you something very exciting, even more exciting than the first 5 units. The second phase was 12 units that we built, and we finished them quite a long time ago. And all these houses, all these 12 houses, apart from one that is about to be sold very soon, all of them are already sold to permanent members of the kibbutz, which means that out of 17 units, thanks to your belief in us, thanks to you coming here, seeing this, when it was still a dream, when it was still a sketch on paper and only some pilots, you know, that you could look at, and look at it now. And I'm telling you, this could not have happened without your help. This could not have happened without your donation, without your, believing in us, without you coming here, understanding how special this community is, and that it is possible to bring people here to be members. And I'm proud to say that out of 17 houses, 16 has already been sold. There are plenty of new children in this neighborhood, and they are still coming, and we keep on growing. And it's a lovely place to raise your kids in. And this was all done thanks to you. You were a very big part of that project, of making real Zionism and bringing good people to sit next to the borders of Israel.
JNF has supported 43 housing lots to date at Nahal Oz. And finally, further south, we go to Hatzeva, one of the most remote communities in Israel. Hatzeva is located in the Negev, along the Jordanian border between the Dead Sea and Red Sea, about 80 miles from the nearest cities of Beersheba and Eilat. A unique agricultural area, it also offers many benefits not available in the center of Israel: a peaceful way of life, a closeness to nature, and a strong connection to the land and community. The region is characterized by a natural, dramatic beauty, but also contends with a sharp climate, extreme topographical conditions, and water scarcity. Residents of the Arava face many challenges, including the harsh desert climate, large distances between communities, and the lack of accessibility to resources available in the urban centers. Yet, this agricultural community also produces some of the most desirable fruits, vegetables, and flowers exported all throughout Europe. The goal for developing communities across the Arava region is to enhance life in the area by building thriving towns in areas that once had nothing. Jewish National Fund is laying the groundwork for new residents to build their lives in the desert with just about everything, including 366 housing lots. Let's see what's going on in Hatzeva.
Hello everyone and greetings from the Arava. My name is Nadav Ilon and I'm the former Chief Security Officer of Central Arava Regional Council. Today I'm the CEO of Moshav Hatzeva, right in the middle of the Arava Valley. And I'm going to take you on a little tour today to show you how our community looks like and what we grow here and what does life means here in the middle of the Arava. So take a short or quick look at what's behind me, and I'm gonna show you around a little bit, tell you a little bit about myself, why I moved here, and how we connect. So stay tuned. Moshav Hatzeva is an agricultural moshav. We have about 200 families, which 150 of them are farms, so we have about 150 farms. And we grow more than 40 different crops, mainly vegetables and fruit, that is exported to really all parts of the world. And right now you are walking through a small date farm, and one of the oldest, most famous crop in the Arava, and Hatzeva mainly, which is watermelons. Me and my wife, we moved here about 4 years ago from Long Island, New York. I was the shaliach on Long Island, New York for Jewish Agency for Israel, and we've decided to move to the Arava mainly because of the peace and quiet that you can have here as a family. Grow our kids, an excellent education system, and the vast desert that gives everyone peace and quiet. Both of us work here, and as I said, I was the Chief Security Officer here in the Central Arava Regional Council, and today I'm the CEO of the Moshav. So basically, I run this joint. We really like to live here, and it's an amazing place where you can grow your children and have them run barefoot right in the middle of a date farm or a watermelon field. Stay tuned, I'm going to show you some more stuff. So, how does it look like to live on a moshav in the Arava? Well, you sometimes think everything is yellowish and desert-like. This is our street in the moshav, and where our kids come and roam. And this is one of the main reasons why I've decided to move here. And here's just one of my own. Say hi. Tegid shalom. Hi. This is how we ride to our schools. This is how we ride to our friends. Right here on the scooter. Oh, let's talk about challenges. This is one. A cute little challenge. But also challenges in the Arava. So mainly one of them, of course, is isolation. Since we're so far, from everything in Israel. And it's a challenge for these guys as well. School system, and how do you commute, and how do you buy even diapers.
but it's also an advantage. Being that far away means that you can basically do whatever you want, and everything you do, you're probably the first one that's doing it. So we are the true and real pioneers, I would say, of Israel. So out of every challenge, or as we say, out of every lemon, we can make lemonade. Chonamit. Hey.
All right, we got to the last station of our tour here in Tzava. This is really the future. What you see behind me is future in the making, actually history in the making. For 50 years, the Arava did not grow. New families didn't arrive. Our sons and daughters did not have a place to come and build their homes, and basically to expand the family and expand the farms and continue to grow and continue to be the true pioneers of Israel. What you can see behind me are four, I don't know if you can see all of them, but 4 new homes that are now almost ready here in Tzeva. This is the new generation. This is my generation. My friends are actually building those homes, and hopefully my house will be built somewhere way over there in the back. Right now we have 30 new farms that are waiting to be built, just like this. And we have 88 other lots that are also ready to be built by new families that will move from other parts of the country here to the Arava to share what I've just told you. The values, the education, the fun, and really the connection to the land. So we hope to see you soon. We hope that COVID-19 will pass on and it'll be just a long lost dream. I really hope to see you in person again with my own eyes and not through Zooms and videos and all that. And that I will be able to tell you, right to your face what we do here at Verify, your help and how your contribution and your leadership really helps us build our communities, just like these homes, just like Tzeva. So Shana Tova, and see you soon in 2020, 2021. Bye.
Well, I hope you've developed a better appreciation for the impact that JNF's Housing Development Fund is having on the people and land of Israel. And we've only just begun. Thanks for being here today, and thank you for everything you do.
That concludes this session, but don't go too far. Please join us later today at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific for What's in Store for the World? The Future of Global Food, Water, and Energy Security, featuring special guest speakers Seth Siegel, Professor Joaquin Ruiz of the University of Arizona, and Dr. Howard Yana Shapiro.